Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition, the 65th edition of the EGlaze Chronicles. I am your host, Emmanuel Glaze, and I'm happy to bring you on this Wednesday. Hope you had a great hump day. One thing I love, and I love about what I do now is the opportunity to meet new people and meet authors, because I think authors are some of the most creative people out there, and to be able to think and do things and put it on paper. One of my goals is to be an author one day, so I'm hoping I can get there one day. But today, I want to introduce you to Angie Alex, author Angie Alex. How are you doing today, Angie?
Hey, I'm so great. Thank you for asking, and thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for. Let's talk about this. You've written a new book, but this is actually your fourth book, correct?
It is, yes.
So I always had to ask after this, what made you want to put pen to paper or type or create to get your first one out? What was the thought process to start with number one?
Well, I think for me, it's kind of almost always been a part of me ever since I can remember. I loved to write. It was just really a creative outlet, a source of energy flowing through me. And I think I stifled it quite a bit when I was younger. I didn't think I was good enough, or I didn't think I was talented, or that wasn't for me. I should just, major in business and forget that creative thing. Um, and I think that it actually took a major tragedy in my life to bring out that creative part of me and that expressive part of me. So I think of myself as a storyteller first and foremost. And I think that is a lost art, or an art that's being lost. And it's really the transformational thing when you can tell stories to people and they can therefore change their lives just based on your story. And that's kind of how I consider myself. More of a storyteller. I'm not a traditional author with all these degrees and journalism or this and that. I'm really at the heart of it a storyteller, and I really just express my creativity and my love for everybody through my writing, in the hopes that those people that do read it can see where I've come from, what I've been through, what I've navigated through in this journey, and how I can be where I'm at right now and be happy. That's a pretty big deal. I think there's a large statistic of people that are not happy right now.
Yeah, it's just like kind of going through, especially during these times. So is that what you want your reader to get when they pick up a book by Angie Alex? Do you want them to get that happiness, or what is the main thing you want them to get when they pick up your book?
Oh, if they could just, each one is different, but I think if they could just feel that anything that they desire, that they dream is possible, I think then my job was done. I conveyed the message good enough to know that there's always a reason to be grateful. There's always a reason to be appreciative. And in those moments of gratitude and appreciation, you can set the course for your destiny, for good things. And in spite of what you might be going through right now, there is always a chance to change it and make it good. So anybody that reads any of the books, even I have a children's book, even the message is generally, believe in yourself and be yourself, and, don't mind the nonsense.
So with each book, how much of it is a part of you in each book? How much do
every part of it I pour myself into. I have a lot of books that I've written that are just personal stories of mine, things that I've lived through. There's just a lot of me in the books. Even the children's book, I think, is a reflection of what I've come to learn in my journey of 42 years on this earth. Is that it's a little bee, and he learns that nothing's more beautiful than being himself. And that's really what I learned. It took me 41 years to learn that. And so I think if I can, kind of maybe let kids understand that a little bit earlier, maybe they'll be better off.
So to talk about your mother, your wife, if I'm looking right, you're a life coach.
Yes.
You're a pinup model. I read somewhere that you have a lot of hats that you wear. But
I do.
What is it that who is Angie Alex? Who is this author that everybody
Yeah.
reads? Who is Angie?
Well, I'm just a person, navigating my way through this physical reality, just like you are. And I just have come to learn in my life that this journey is really about fun. And if we aren't having fun and we aren't chasing the good feelings, we're wasting our precious time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of us spend a lot of time chasing the bad feelings um, in relationships or
Right.
jobs or whatever it
Right.
is. And I
Correct.
mean, when you get older and you get a little wiser, you realize, oh wow, this is like lightning, this life, and I need to spend as much time being happy. So I that's who I am. I'm an adventurer. I'm looking for joy. I'm chasing the good feelings. I'm blessed to have 3 teenagers. So yes, I'm a mother. Yes, I'm a wife. I do all of these other things that bring me joy. But yeah, and I'm always open to discovering new parts about me and new things that I love to do. I just don't pigeonhole myself into one little box, because there's no one little box for me.
That's why I love talking to authors, because the creativity part is just amazing. That what you guys go through.
Oh, thanks.
Which one is more? Is, I don't want to say harder, but which one, is more, is good for you? Telling a personal story about yourself, or just storytelling in general? Which
Oh,
one?
well, for me personally, I find it um, more emotional and more the ability to convey feelings more when it's my personal story, when it's something that I've lived through, something I've navigated through. I can tell it with clarity and confidence and feeling. I can tell other people's stories too, which I've done in some of my books.
No.
I like to share contrast and things like that, um, but when I tell my stories, I'm very connected to it, and I think that's the thing that people look for in a book or a video or whatever it is a feeling. We're all searching for feelings. And when you can feel something and you can feel someone and you can connect with them, it's a beautiful thing. It's a really
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Right. Right. And it just, to be able for people to read that and feel that feeling that you're trying to get to them,
Yes.
has to
Yes.
be
Like,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, in this book that that just came out in August is really, that is like the pinnacle of that for me, because it is a lot of years of doing this pattern of unraveling and falling apart and putting myself back together, and realizing how many false ideas and false and limiting beliefs I had adopted through my lifetime that didn't serve me. And as I got older, it was like, wait a second, you still have to do it. You have to do it all the time. You have to think, is this really serving me to think this way? Or is this a limiting belief? And I think that's what as we get older, it becomes easier to do. But if we can teach younger kids to start this process earlier,
Right.
wow, what a dynamic life they would have, to have this perception of reality in your 20s. You'd be unstoppable. You'd be unstoppable.
Let's talk about it. You brought it up. Let's talk about
Okay.
Unravel. Finding happiness, becoming completely undone. I want to make sure I got that correct. I might have
Yeah.
missed something on it.
Yeah.
But the title alone, it draws you to this book. So talk to us about it. You talked a little bit about what the reasoning behind the book, but talk to us more about what's in the book and what people
Sure.
can look forward to when they pick it up.
Sure. First, I do want to state that the cover and the illustrations that are inside of the book were all done by my really talented artist daughter. She did
Awesome.
those
Awesome.
when she was only 16, and
Awesome.
she's just amazing. So I do want to give her credit for that. I love working with her. She illustrated the children's book with me as well.
Awesome.
But the book is basically an analogy of us all coming to this earth as a little ball of yarn. And as we grow, most of us are fortunate to be knitted together with this love that our parents are pouring into us, and their ideas and their beliefs and whatever they feel they need to put into us. It's most of the time it's done in love.
Right.
There are a lot of people that have had really unfortunate experiences, and it was not done with love. They were not knit together with love. They were knit together with anger and resentment and everything that their parents hated. And that's extremely difficult to unravel. But
Right.
most of us, I myself, came from very loving parents. Their ideas and their belief system was extremely limited,
Hmm.
and they sewed that into me. And they sewed in all their fears, and they sewed in all the dreams they had for me that made them feel good, not understanding that I was my own individual person. Just like this is, I preach to the choir when I say this, because I'm a mom too, and I did the same thing. I had, oh my gosh, he's gonna do this, and oh this, and
Right.
it's like,
Right.
they have their own path they have to take, and so our hopes and our fears, need to stay exactly that, ours and ours alone, not put into our kids. But so each of us have this sense of us as we grow older. Other people add to it. Like, if you can imagine somebody taking knitting needles and adding to it their opinion of you. What did they say about you? Were you bullied in school? Were you called names? Were you told you were stupid? All
Right.
these things are being knit into you. So by the time you become 20 years old, you're this full person made up of everybody else's ideas, not even your own.
Mm.
And until you can pull off those strings and really get to who you truly are and your worthiness, not being based on somebody else, but being based solely on you,
Right.
then and only then can you find true happiness. Otherwise, you're going to be knitting these strings and pulling these strings and not wanting to fall apart, keeping it all together because that's what you think you're supposed to do. But you're not. You're supposed to fall apart, because that's when you find out who you truly are.
That is so tough, though. A lot of people, unraveling is hard for a lot of us.
It's
Like you
so
said,
hard.
because not only your parents, but you get it from, like you said, friends and
Everybody that you've ever come in contact with has
they're
added a
putting that in
string to
there.
you. Yes,
Right.
they
Right.
have. And I mean, this is, like I even say in the book, this is not easy. Like, I am not going to tell you, like, this is the easiest thing that you'll ever do to change your life. It's absolutely not,
Right.
but it's absolutely worth it, because
Right.
once you start to peel those off, you're free of it. You don't have to even think about it anymore, right? You're free to think about other things. And this is very hard, because so many of us have these beliefs that are so stitched into our very being that it takes years to overcome. I myself, I tell the story in my book that I myself had to overcome my own self-image, what was sewn into me as a small child, being told that I was chubby, and my older brother had was super active, played basketball, and would eat like 15 McDonald's cheeseburgers, and he had muscles, and I
Right.
was just
Right.
10 years old and chubby, and I didn't really want to move, and so I think, I was told by his friends that I was just Jason's fat little sister. And, my parents tried their best to do what they thought was right and put me on a diet when I was 10.
Wow.
And what I ended up doing was taking that, and in my mind, my young child mind, I took that as my worth was based on what I looked like, and my worth was based on my weight. And
Wow.
so by the time I was 14, I was already over exercising and cutting calories. 15 years old, I was full blown anorexic. And it just reaffirmed to me that everything good was happening to me because of what I looked like. And this was something that was so very difficult for me to unravel, and took the majority of my life to unravel it, and to uncover the fact that my worth and my success was never based on anything that was subject to change. It was always based on me. And it wasn't until my 30s, when I got very, very sick and I
Mm.
gained over 80 pounds and had 2 devastating miscarriages, that I realized that I had been successful. I was still successful in life. I was creating these businesses and doing these things, yet I was like nothing like I wanted to look.
Right.
And it then in those moments that I realized that, wait a second, my success was never based on what I weighed. And I think that is something that a lot of people can relate to and a lot of people can deal with. But those are the kinds of things that will take a long time to unravel, and it's not easy, but it is crucial that you do it. It's crucial that you do it. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to look at yourself and say, wait a second, that's not true. That is not true. I am not limited to what I look like or what I act like or how I speak or all of these things that people have said. It's simply not true. You are a beautiful, magnificent being, and you deserve all the good things that you want. You just have to shed that nonsense and knit yourself back in that image that you want, an image that you really want of yourself. That is how this life goes.
Yeah. Do you feel like this book is, because what you're talking about is a lot of us are is it also able, or is it kid friendly? Because these are things and principles that I feel like teenagers need to be understanding.
Oh, absolutely.
At that age. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I would love it if teenagers read it. There's some things I'm sure that might be in context, maybe harder to grasp, your self-worth, your self-image, those kind of things. They do come with time and experience, but to start to understand, the affirmations in there, why are you worthy? To start to give yourself that self-talk, and that is crucial. And if you can start when you're a teenager learning that and that you are worthy and that you can create the life you want, you just got to get out of your own way. And the way you do that is by turning this little thing up here off sometimes and just, focusing on the good qualities about yourself. And like, again, this is harder for some people. And some people have only heard negative things their whole lives and only talk negative to themselves too. So this is something that is a process. The unraveling is definitely a process.
Wow. This is awesome. I think that a lot of us face this issue of, and it's funny that you said it about your businesses. Even though you were successful business-wise, you were still probably in the mindset of what people were telling you. So you was building your businesses in their light, per se, or what they were telling you.
Yes.
So now you're trying to build it and learn through what you are comfortable in, who you are. What has been that biggest transition for you, being the person you were in the past to where you're now have unraveled or are still unraveling, and being able to create the way you are now?
Yeah, there's so many little things that happen to collectively add to my unraveling. But my very first realization of an unraveling was when I did lose my daughter, Kylie. I had a miscarriage on Thanksgiving Day, 2011. And that was such a hard time in my life. I literally fell apart. I didn't even just fall apart, I disintegrated. And what I learned after the fact, and it did take me quite a long time, and I tell people all the time, I'm never going to be one of those people that tell you to smile and be grateful. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you need to grieve and you need to be sad and you need to feel your feelings. And that's what I did. But years later, as I reflected on that, I realized what a beautiful, beautiful gift she gave me. In her short life, she pulled that final string that I was holding on to, a version of myself that I didn't want to be, a version of myself that I didn't want, that gave me anxiety all the time. And when I lost her and everything fell out from under me, I was free to recreate myself the way I wanted and to be the me that I wanted to be, which I never would have had the courage or strength or understanding to do had that not been for that incident. So what a profound life she had in such a short amount of time. And from there, I became more aware of these situations. Like in the book, I talk about two types of unraveling. That type of unraveling that happened to me is type number one, which are the things that happened to you. You had no say in that unraveling. And it's actually, it's painful and it's tragic. And it usually are things that we call tragedies. And we had no control over it. But it really was a gift from the universe, because that string was pulled for you. You didn't have to do it. And then the other type are the kind we do to ourselves by by self-examination and
Mhm.
realizing, wait a second, that's a limiting belief. I don't need to accept that. I can pull that apart. That's somebody else's opinion of me. They told me I wasn't good enough for this, but I still want to do it, so I'm going to do it. And so I think for me, yeah, the journey to here, started. It started when I was a kid, really, in my life, all the things I've gone through, but really I became aware of it, after my daughter died. And from there, it's been this journey of constant unraveling and pulling apart the things that don't matter and seeing myself for who I am and what an amazing person I am, not based on any of these other things, and solely based on my journey and my strength and my courage. And, I'm a great friend and I'm a great mom, and these things that, hold me together, that aren't based on these things that the outside world tells me. And I think when people can start to realize that about themselves, life becomes quite a bit more enjoyable when you're not listening to other people all the time.
Yeah. And we're here with author Angie Alex, author of Unravel, Finding Happenings, Becoming Completely Undone. What would your family and friends say about this Angie? What would they
Uh,
say about this Angie?
oh, I think they'd say good stuff about me. I think they've, enjoyed the journey and watching me grow. I've got a great set of really amazing friends, and my husband's my biggest fan and my biggest supporter, and my best friend. And I mean, obviously, we'll celebrate 18 years on Sunday.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
so thank you. It's been quite a wild ride for sure, but in 18 years, he met me when I was, this broken soul 23-year-old, and
Yeah.
here I am 42, and living this life of, aiming to inspire people. And I think they'd all say it's been fun to watch. And I just have a really great group of very supportive friends.
Wow. Make sure you pick up this book. Let me ask this. Just my last question I want to ask. To be able to enjoy this with your teenagers, for them to be able to see mom, the author, how has that been
Yes.
for you? Is that
uh,
is that kind of surreal sometimes? Be like, yeah, I'm an author. My mom's an author. Or do they
yeah.
realize that? Do they say things like that? Like you said, you had your daughter help with the illustrations of the book. How has that been for your kids to be able to say, "Mom's, it's cool. My mom's an author."
Yeah, I mean, I think they like it. They think it's cool.
Yeah.
They've had a little taste of it before in the past. When I did live in Atlanta, we had an entertainment magazine there, and they got to go
Okay.
to really cool shows with me all the time. So
That's
I've
awesome. That's
always
awesome.
been cool. But
Yeah.
but but really, this has been, I think they're really proud of me, because this is a message that is so hopeful and
Right.
so inspiring and so needed at this time in the world, that we have so much divide everywhere.
Right.
And if we could all just unravel some of these beliefs and some of these things inside of ourselves, we would see that there are these strings that connect me to you and you to him, and we're all literally connected. So
Right.
there's no room for hate. There's no room for that. We just got to love ourselves a little bit more, and therefore that'll spill over into other people. So I think it's really cool. They think they're proud of me, so that makes me really happy.
Well, I think it's awesome. I think think a lot of us need to lose our mind sometime and do
Yeah,
something and unravel.
for
Um,
sure.
Tell them where they can get a copy of this book at, and also where they can find more information about you.
Sure. My website is angiealex.com, and you can go on there, learn a little bit about me. We're redesigning that website right now too, so it'll look different if you go to it later. But you can order the book on there. It's the same price as it is on Amazon, and I sign it when you order it on my website, so that's a plus. Um,
Incentive.
so you can go there and do that. You can also order the children's book on there as well, and both my daughter and I sign it on there. But if you're so inclined to go to Amazon, it is available on Amazon, the Kindle version and the paperback. And I'm on social media at the Angie Alex. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Instagram is my modeling page. So you see, all the pinup stuff, all the magazine shoots I do, that kind of stuff is on the Instagram page. But yeah, I'm everywhere.
Well, I'm glad to be able to meet you and talk with you. I think what
Thanks.
you're doing is great work.
Thank you.
Continue the great work. Please make sure you go pick up her book, Unravel: Finding Happiness, Becoming Completely Undone. Angie, Alex, I learned something today, and I really appreciate that. I like to,
Thank you.
to do that, and hope to talk to you again one day very soon. So
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much for having me.
Absolutely, it was an honor. It was a pleasure. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the EGlaze Chronicles. Make sure you guys out there, like Angie say, be good to one another. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.